Hi, everybody. We're back.
Hello, everybody.
Great to be with each and every one of you guys. Like always, we are rolling into summer after Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, hope everyone had a good time.
The heat is turning up. I don't know. We ended up with a little bit of like cool and rainness today, but I know in other places of the world, the heat is cranking up.
Ranking up. And yesterday we spent the morning in shelter due to tornado
Oh,
warnings.
wow.
And yeah, we had 80-mile-an-hour winds here and great. I mean, there's lights still out, tree branches all over the place, and trees, just full on trees in the road. It's crazy. And it's
So
still in the cleanup mode.
it is. You know what? We were traveling and we got back, and the day before, winds had come through here, and we've seen a lot of huge trees down and stuff. So we didn't have tornadoes, but I think something similar. I'm glad to have missed it.
Yeah, we're just very fortunate that we have power. Last time that something like this happened, we were out of power for like 3, 4 days. And this time we have power and so many people don't, like a lot of people. So I feel really bad for them because I know what it's like. But yeah, we're in the cleanup phase here in Dallas, Texas.
Good, good, good. Well, we hope all of you guys, wherever you are safe and sound and enjoying wherever you are at the moment. Because many of you guys may be with us in like real time, listening, being with us. And some of you guys might be finding this like a year later and you're like, what tornado? What are you talking about in
What are
Dallas?
you talking about? And first, we can't forget to, because it was Memorial Day, just say great thanks and appreciation for all that serve and give their life, their effort, their love. It's I can't honor it enough and thank you enough for it. So
100%.
yeah,
Yes, 100%. It's a blessing. True, true
yeah,
blessing.
yeah.
Yes. Well, you guys, one of the questions that Dr. Heidi and I have either been asked or we're finding a lot of people as they're kind of entering midlife stages of their life start really asking about, because when we're young, we don't really ask questions like, what do I do to help support my heart health? We kind of just think we're living forever, or we're just not even thinking about our health. You're just running ragged with work and family and all the things. And then you're like, midlife, oh, I have a moment to breathe. Maybe I should start thinking about my health.
Yeah, exactly. It's a what's really interesting is when we're young, metabolically, we don't have to think about it. We do things, we recover, we can party hard or work out hard, but we recover, we can kind of go to junk food and go half and half and still recover. And we get this mindset that we're invincible or, yeah, I got away with it. But then there comes that 40, 45 years old where none of that works anymore. And then the concerns start.
Then the concerns start. Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you look at what's all over, call it podcast or social media, there's a lot of stuff like for a lot of midlife women on hormones and weight and maybe sleep. But honestly, the subject of heart isn't widely talked about, right? It's not the conversation at the dinner table or out with your girlfriends, but there is really an increased risk of heart attack, heart disease, strokes, and especially for women.
Yeah, exactly. It's still the number one killer of all health concerns. It's still the number one killer of women. And yet I find the conversation woefully lacking. It's always about hormones and weight loss and sex and things like that. But that's not the concern. The concern absolutely has to be first and foremost speaking about our heart health and all the things that but generally speaking, go into the support and strengthening of our heart. We are more likely, 1 in 5 times more likely to have a heart or cardiovascular event than breast cancer. And
Why
yet breast cancer has the most conversation.
it has the most conversation. And so here's, for me being in health for almost 30 years and as a physical therapist, I saw people after they were sick. I saw people after they had a very significant thing in their health. And the problem with heart is it's not a conversation of, I'm not sleeping well, I'm having hot flashes, I'm gaining weight around the middle. It's not a tangible, easy thing because you don't feel it until it happens. So it gets often neglected. And I don't even say often, it is neglected, just like you said, Heidi. And so we want to bring this conversation to the forefront. And we want to bring this conversation that when you're looking about weight and fitness, because that's kind of what people want, like, so fine, I'm like eating differently and now I'm strength training differently. And all right, we're an aging woman and this is midlife. But let's talk about heart health and what are the things that can be easy, simple routines or switch outs that can really benefit somebody for heart.
Yeah. Whenever we think of heart, we always just think of, oh, I have to do my cardio.
Yeah, I would say everybody thinks that.
Everyone goes, oh, well, I got to do my cardio. And yeah, you need to do your cardio, but there's so much more about heart strength, heart timing, AFib. These are some of the things that happen as we get older. It loses its timing. And so it creates issues. A lot of that can be avoided by different kinds of exercise, and exercise is going to be the number one support you have, because exercise immediately is anti-inflammatory, manages your insulin, strengthens everything. So not only do you want good strong arms to lift things and or good strong legs to catch you if you trip, but you need a heart to keep up with all of that. And it's through that contraction of muscle, that squeezing of blood and pooling it in areas that allow that then strengthening the heart. So exercise is going to be one of the biggest things. And what else did you ask, Kelly? I was just thinking about the answers just then.
I mean, I will just tell you is I have changed my exercise a lot over the last, especially, 10 years, but even 3 to 5 years. And this past weekend when we were traveling, someone said, oh, go to Gross Mountain. We're like, okay. And there's a hike there. And so my husband and I, and one of our daughters who's very active, and we were like, we can do this hike. So we did a hike. Hiking up was an hour and 40 minutes of almost 3,000 feet in elevation. I was like, I haven't worked this hard. And I don't, probably since I was training for my triathlons, like I haven't strenuously lifted like that, because obviously I'm lifting my body weight, right? Like that. And then what we didn't know is most people, as a celebratory, take the gondola down. But we didn't know, so we hiked down. Eccentrically, the work, oh my Lord, talk about DOMs for the next couple of days. I was like, I haven't felt this in so long, but it was a reminder to me that I still need to go do hard things.
Yeah.
And I need to do a variety of things, not just for my muscles and strength, but it's the cardiovascular as we're aging, right? It's good for my brain. It's good for my heart, all the things that we don't feel.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the key, Kelly, and we can't say it enough, is we don't feel the heart until there's something wrong with it. And by the time that gets to the body has all these amazing compensatory mechanisms, things that counteract us feeling it. It will do so many things to prevent you from having a heart attack, from having a stroke, until it runs out of choices because things have just piled up, right? One of the big things that people don't talk about or consider is vasculature or blood flow and so forth is one of the leading causes. Chronic inflammation is a sign that there could be damage with the heart or with the vasculature. So we can't just say, oh, I have a sore knee, and think of all the reasons why we'd have a sore knee. But if it's chronic, we have to look at the vasculature. Dementia, there's several kinds of dementia and causes or root causes of that dementia, Alzheimer's. And one of the big ones is poor vasculature, poor blood flow to the brain. So there are cycles in our body, the nitric oxide cycle and things like that, that help keep the blood flowing without getting too much pressure, and so that our brain can function. It consumes most of the oxygen, most of the calories and energy in our body. And that demand is high. And if we can't keep up, peripheral things, fingers, toes, feet, they're going to lose the blood flow. So when we think about chronic inflammation, think about the heart. Think about where you're getting the inflammation. Where is the stiffness? Oh, my feet just started hurting. Well, why is that? Right? A lot of times it's blood flow. It's not getting enough oxygen and repair. So think about that. Chronic inflammation can be a heart issue and should be checked.
Wow. Okay. So before we jump into a little bit of diet stuff, when we're talking about chronic inflammation, I know there's some technology out there that can really help with inflammation. People can, on top of exercise, people can do things like infrared sauna is great for reducing inflammation. You can go to hyperbaric oxygen chambers, great to help reduce inflammation. There's also some daily sort of supplement things. And I just wanted to touch on this because you and I have talked about NRF2 activation before. But really, with some of the NRF2 activating products, they can really significantly reduce inflammation and this oxidative stress going on.
Absolutely. So that was part of that nitric oxide cycle that I mentioned. And the body's own, compensatory mechanisms, the things that are already in our bodies. Our body has an amazing amount of tools with which to draw from. We weren't just thrown down here empty-handed. We have the antidote, the answer to most things in our body. We just have to activate them, right? We just have to turn that switch on. And one of the main switches is that NRF2 activation. If that NRF2 is a gene, which is a master switch that then turns on all the little switches. So
wait, did you guys hear that? Like sometimes people hear like NRF2 genes and you're already shut out. So if you shut us out for that moment, come back and listen to the statement again, because this is tremendously powerful and it's simple for you to take action on and reduce your inflammation and oxidative stress quickly. So tell us again, Heidi, this NRF2 activation, that this is the master regulator of this gene expression. So again, kind of talk about that flipping this master switch and then the little switches.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is the master switch. And going back to us being without power and being thankful that we're not without power, it's very much like your power grid in, oh, did I blow a fuse? And you go and you just flick that fuse. Well, that's like supplementation. You can supplement and maybe address that little fuse. But if the whole house goes out, you need to turn all of them off, and the major electrical
Main house
unit
breaker.
in there, the big house breaker, you got to turn it off and then crank it back on. That's what NRF2, it is a major master switch that activates over 500, close to 1,000 probably, other genes that are the little switches. So those other switches turn on, which are naturally anti-inflammatory, naturally targeting different tissues, and they're very specific in their action. And you can't, the only general switch is that big RNF2, which launches specific activation to very specific intentional points. These are the tools our body have. The best you can do that is activate those. And there's so many ways to do them. Some are faster than others, some are more efficient than others, but that's really the target. If you want to at least start there, you're ahead of the game.
Wow. You guys, in the show notes, I'll put that down. And because some of you guys were like, I was listening on a walk. I'd like to hear that again. And more and more brands and companies are coming out with NRF2 activating products. Some are better than others. So we'll put our recommendations. Heidi and I really like from the companies called LifeVantage. They were actually just in Newsweek the other day. It's really, really fabulous. So, but we'll put all the information down there. And speaking of that, Heidi, I think the other kind of supplement thing people have talked about for the heart, even though some of you out there listening are like, what does that have to do with the heart, is collagen. Because collagen is in everything stretching in the body. So for the heart, for the blood vessels and everything is, taking collagen could really help support heart health. However, most collagens that are powder or pill form don't have the power in them to really give the body the collagen it needs to do that. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah. Some of the powders can hit certain peptides in certain areas, but they don't cover as much tissue coverage and of the scaffolding, if you will, of our body structures, of our organ structures. So we'll be able to hit a lot of the collagens hit structures, say with our skin and with our nails, but to actually go deep enough and widespread enough to support our organ structures, which these guys can't get hard and curl up like a raisin, right? They gotta be full and ready
stay
to go.
elastic and stretchy, and imagine
And
the
stretchy, exactly.
Like tight, you guys, right? And the heart can't beat or beats irregular. That's not good.
Yeah, and that's where the collagen structures can come in, and that kind of support can be really very helpful. One of the research with that same company that we really love, the LifeVantage, when they've done the research with adding the collagen with the NRF2 activators, you can really reduce the cytokines, which are little guys that go in and create inflammation, right? Not all of them are, some are inflammatory and some are anti-inflammatory. But what's really interesting is you can activate those anti-inflammatory cytokines in a robust amount by supporting that collagen and the NRF2 pathways at the same time. It's really profound. It's a self-winding inflammatory loop called NF-kappa B. And years and years and years of research has been into how do we reduce NF-kappa B? How do we reduce NF-kappa B? And how do we turn it off? And really, this has been a real concern of health for a long, long time. And we have an answer here with this study with some of these products. So there's ways of reducing that NF-kappa B. Supplementation is always a support, but it's you know, we always want to do all the things we can do, right? Diet, lifestyle, and right intentional supplementation.
Yeah, you guys. So I hope
Activation.
you are really listening, because you can just go on your day to think like, oh, heart issues have been in my family. Or you can say, no, I'm going to take control. I am going to exercise. I am going to change my diet. And I'm going to start taking some of these products that have a dramatic effect at reducing your body's inflammation and supporting the structures, including your heart. Because I specialized in brain health for most of my career. You can't replace a brain. You can replace a heart, but a replaced heart is not the same. And it's the heart. And then you're talking about the heart and the valves and the vessels and you guys, it's throughout our whole body. You don't want to have to replace all the hoses and the master pump in your body. Believe me. Yeah. And now with technology, new things are coming out like the NRF2 and the activated liquid collagen that actually can support these processes to keep this well-oiled machine, i.e. our heart and vascular supply, really functioning to its highest level as it can as we're going through this aging process.
Yeah, absolutely. And for women, it's just not talked about enough to really focus on these things and to focus on heart. You don't have to be obese. You don't have to, this isn't, in fact, a lot of these skinny fat women are more at risk for a cardiovascular event than the ones we can see, right? Because of the very point you made from the very beginning. Doesn't hurt until something's wrong.
Wow. Yeah.
There's no warning.
There is no warning. There is no warning. So take every morning that you wake up and you get to breathe, take that as your warning that it could still come, right? Like you just need to know if you're breathing, one day we won't. So there's always a warning that the check engine light is on. We just can't see it. We can't see it. Like we can see we didn't have a great sleep. We can see, ooh, the scale went up. We can't see it with our heart and our brain. So you just need to know it's coming.
Yeah, exactly. And there's some things that I would say, and maybe Kelly, you're winding up the podcast.
Oh, let's go right into this. I would say
some things I would say that you always want to check when you go to your doctor to get, and I think everyone, this is just a personal, from what I see in my years of functional medicine, is that at least twice a year, run a good comprehensive blood panel. It's not expensive, but it is so much information when you're with someone who doesn't just look at, oh, is it out of range? Your blood work's fine, but look at where really, what are the numbers and what's the pattern of those numbers? And one of the things you may always want to ask for, because it's not a given that they're going to do it, but to always ask for is a CRP or a HS CRP, a high sensitivity CRP. This is a really wonderful and critical inflammatory marker. It doesn't tell you where the inflammation is, but it does tell you, hey, there's something going on in here that's inflammatory. And we all know inflammation is a fuel, jet fuel of any disease. So control that first, right? So get your first warning with a high sensitivity CRP. Another inflammatory marker is called homocysteine. And homocysteine, they just put it towards cardiovascular. It is highly cardiovascular indicative, but they almost, I would say, in terms of functional medicine, we really know the research says it shouldn't be over 7. The high end of the range is in some tests 14, some are 15, but really at that point, it's just, that's way too high. It really shouldn't be over 7. When you get into 9, we know that there's already neuronal damage. There's neuronal inflammation. And so the higher you go, the more oxidative stress is happening. So you want to watch that number. The other one that's rarely done, but it is a first line indicator, accurate indicator. There's some cardiovascular issues here. It's called a TMAO, trimethylamine N oxide. Just remember TMAO. This marker can indicate, and if this is high, this can be a great indication of there's cardiovascular stress here going on, and we need to lower these numbers. So just having that goes well beyond cholesterol. It's not about cholesterol levels. It's about the ratios of your triglycerides and LDLs, not total cholesterol. And these other combinations of inflammatory response. So catch your inflammation early, get those numbers down. You're going to save your heart.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, we'll be sure to also put those 3 tests in the show notes. So if you're going to go to your doctor and you're getting your blood work done, you're going to make sure that we have all 3 of those. But before we end, because we can't round this out talking about heart health, with at least doing a overview of nutrition, right? Like if you haven't kind of all right, I still am a fast food junkie. Okay, I still like my soda. All right, let's just talk about 3 or 4 basic things, Heidi, that it would be all right, if you are at all concerned about your heart, or you want to take the next level in taking care of your heart, and we start looking at a diet, obviously we've been talking about inflammation. So hence everybody, guess what? You need a diet low in inflammation.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know, the anti-inflammatory diet.
Hello. So you could literally Google that and you know what to eat. But if we can give you some pointers when you start going to the store, and I will just say, I was just with my friends at the store and they were like, you didn't go through the store very much. And I was like, well, I'm only here for a few days. And they're like, yeah, but everything you bought was so healthy. And we were joking. And I said, when you go to the store, you just shop the perimeter. And that can keep you healthy for almost anybody, right?
Yeah.
Looking at, we could pound it into your head all day long of, we got to bring it back home. We got to bring cooking back to the basics. You've got to eat your fruits and vegetables, and you've got to eat your clean proteins. And if you can just do that, you're going to have big success. But in general, if you could add your top 2 tips, Heidi, what would you say for heart health?
Heart health, if you are trying to prevent anything, if you have a family history of heart stuff and you're saying, I don't want to be like that, I want to avoid that, the Mediterranean diet, good amount of fats, the good fats. Olive oil actually lowers cholesterol. So good, healthy, clean olive oils are going to be very important. But the Mediterranean diet, which is very balanced, chicken, fish, beef, veg, loads and loads of vegetables. And the most important thing about vegetables are not too much raw, not too much cooked, kind of a combination. So you're not just salads. Everyone, when I say, what are you getting from vegetables? Oh, I have a salad. Nope, we need more than that. And we need mounds of it. So get your veggies in, get them as most colorful as you can. Everyone says they don't want to give up their cheese. Go more for the goat cheeses, the sheep, less from the cow dairy type cheeses, and keep it at a minimal. It should be just an enhancer and not the bulk of the dinner. More good fats, good protein, and mounds of veggies. The Mediterranean diet. If you do have, quick side note on that, if you have already had diagnosis of heart issues and things, blood pressure, things like that, the DASH diet has been proven the most effective. So the DASH diet is just lower in meats, more veggies and things like that, but that's very specific. If you already have a diagnosis of something and you really want to make a big change, the DASH diet would be the one I'd recommend. And you can look that up.
Yeah, perfect, you guys. So again, Mediterranean diet for the majority of you guys out there, and look up the DASH diet if you currently are undergoing some cardiovascular issues or already have a history of. And just for all of you, it might just be interesting to really look it up and really start, again, always think of food as fuel. So what we put in our gas tank matters.
Yeah, absolutely. And the cleaner, the better. It's worth the effort. It's worth the cost. It's just when you look at the research and the data, the more and more we have on foods that aren't organic with pesticides and glyphosates and things like that, it's there's just no point in eating a strawberry unless, because it's not a strawberry if it's not organic. It's just not a strawberry. I know it looks like it, but there's so much junk in it, it's not a strawberry. So, I mean, that's just one example, but go organic as much as you can. Look up the working health group. What's it called?
Oh,
I just lost the name.
EWG, environmental.
Yeah.
Yep.
Environmental working group. Look at their website. They have great information. The Dirty Dozen, you know, these kinds of things. At least follow that. At least get started that way.
And you guys, I think that actually, Heidi, that will be a great another show. Is a lot of people want to know. We can kind of go over why the Dirty Dozen, the Clean 15. I mean, because you guys, we won't go into this right now, but either you get rid of your toxins before you put them in your body, or your body's got to get rid of the toxins. Then you're asking it to do a lot of unnecessary work, which is leading to more aging. So just know it really is important.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
You guys, well, thank you as always for listening. Heidi, thank you so much. Your knowledge is just always so invaluable to people. You guys take heart health seriously, because it is the silent killer, and us as women really need to say, it could be me. So let me start making these changes today versus waiting till you feel something, because you'll never feel something until it's too late.
Absolutely. Heart health, love.
Yeah, right? Open that heart, spread more love, and it matters. So
It matters.
until next week, everyone, we will see you soon.
Be well. Bye-bye.